guys, and welcome back to another episode of Backpack BushCraft. Last week, as we was wrapping up our fabric and thread episode, I said that this week we would be looking at the needle not as a sewing instrument, but as a multi-tool or multi-purpose item to really see what this thing can do. Now, right off your bat, there's a bunch of stuff that's going to spring to your head. Probably number one is going to be turning it into a compass. I'm going to show you a few things that you can pack to make sure you always have a compass with you. Give me a second, we'll get started. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want a battery. I like double A's. I don't know if you can work it with the triple or with a bigger C or D battery. Double A is fine. What you're going to do is you're going to make sure your battery has life first. And to do this, you just want to place it near your compass. And you can see how this battery works. It has a positive magnetic field and it's pulling that compass around. Next thing you want to do is getting the battery that works and taking a good iron or steel needle. We're going to swipe it. They say about 40 times. I like to do 50. I'm on 4, 5, 6. $41, $42, $43, $44. To swap this, what I'm doing is I'm catching it between my finger and the top part of the battery and just pulling it like that. 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. If you just swap the middle will become magnetized and will throw off your compass, so be careful. The next piece we're going to take with us is a tea light candle. Now, in the candle episode, I decided not to take tea light candles, but I'm actually going to keep a tea light candle wherever I keep this, just so I have a flotation device. Now, I'll show you what we're going to do. We got a bowl of water here. So what we got is we got a bowl of water here. We got the floating candle, because I know they float. And we're going to place the needle on there. It's going to take us a little while for it to find north. I'm going to tell you which way north is right now. North is from you guys that way. Okay. So there's north. So let's see how well this thing does. Okay. See how accurate it is. Pretty close, I know that, I can tell. This is side by side. You can see they look almost parallel to each other. It's scary how accurate these things can be. Now, you don't have to float it that way if you don't want to. There's other ways. If you have some of that thread I recommended you taking with you, you could just tie a lark's head into it. It would actually have to be a lark's head. You could just tie a loop into it. But you can take your needle, magnetize the needle, and hold it. You want to kind of get it in the middle. It's a little heavy on one end. You just need to adjust until it's laying parallel. May have to use maybe have to use 2 pieces of string to sort of hold it upright in place, but there we go. As you can see, it's going to start swinging around, but it's going to end up pointing back this way. You can see it's slowly starting to wanting to bounce back and forth. Creepy, ain't it? And we'll test it. And yeah, it's right on the money just about. Okay, so that's the most common thing that people are going to tell you can do with this backup compass. And I've showed you 2 ways, with water and without water. Other than that, there are still a lot of other things that I want to explore with this. Number one, it's good to clean out wounds or maintenance on yourself. You can use it to clean under your fingernails. I use my knife, but you could use this. It'd probably actually be a little bit better. And where you have that eye, it actually would be really good for scraping crud out. But yeah, if you had a wound on your hand and there was debris or something in it, use it to roll out the particulates so that you don't get an infection and you don't get that bacteria stuck in you. Of course, you could use it to sew up yourself if you needed stitches or like field stitches, but I'm not showing you how to do that because I don't know how to do it. That's a later episode, hopefully a long time from now, that we have to start doing field medicine. Use it as a toothpick, but I already said you clip with your fingernail, so you use it as a toothpick. Anything like that. If you had cyst, like I get a cyst on my earlobes real bad, you could use it as a lance. You could also use it to pick out splinters or any other foreign objects that got into your fingers or anything like that. Basically, it's like a little mini pry bar is how you could think of it. So after you get past the personal hygiene and the compass abilities of it, you start to get into fishing and trapping. Not so much hunting, just basic fishing and trapping. The first thing that a lot of people tell you to do is they'll tell you to heat it up and bend it over and turn it into a fish hook. I'm one of those people who don't recommend doing that. The main reason is these things will snap, so you would have to get that thing really hot. And even if you did get it hot enough, you'd have to have a pair of pliers here and another pair of pliers here to bend it over. And still, you'd want to be very slow about it. You do not want this thing to snap, because if you snap it, then you don't have a needle hardly anymore either. However, if you were to float it like a gouge hook, it's if you've ever seen a gouge hook, it's just typically it's a piece of wood and it floats like that. You put your bait on it, the fish comes up and eats it, and swallows it, and that's what gets it caught because it's caught in its mouth. I would say this would be pretty good as a gouge hook. The trouble would be floating it, because you can't just let it float to the bottom. So you may have to tie a line and then have a couple sticks here to balance it so that it will not sink to the bottom, so it'll float a little bit. But I do think that would be a good use for it, and you wouldn't have to worry about bending it or nothing like that. You may have to worry about losing your sewing needle. After that, though, another good use, especially if you have a couple of these, if you could probably do it with one, but more is better, turning them into some type of gig. That would definitely get you frogs in the right season, probably even a couple of fish if you had a low enough stream. But yeah, definitely would recommend that. Also, just kind of an extra tip, if you're fishing for survival, more likely you're going to be wanting to use a netting system. Not saying that, casting rod or reel is not going to help. It can, but typically if you're fishing for survival, you'll want a net system. Just kind of how it works. Now, beyond fishing, if we go into more trapping for small rodents and stuff, if you're using some type of windlass system, the thing that spins around under a lot of tension, and you put this in there, it'll hit them right in the head. This would be good for that. I wouldn't use it in conjunction with a mouse trap. It might actually break it. But the windlass should be fine. You can use it in different kill traps that way. That way it pins your prey down and kills them. Just that's kind of how it works. Going from fishing and trapping to cooking, you actually get a lot of uses in cooking. You can use it to test to see if your dough's cooked all the way through. You could use it maybe to pin a piece of fish or something to a board if you're cooking it all there. That way it doesn't come off. Or maybe you use it to hold a fish down while you're descaling it. Or maybe you use it to descale the fish. You can actually even use this in boiling your water. If the mouth of your bottle is smaller than the hook, you could stick it in and you would have a toggle. So, I mean, you even have a toggle there as well. I wouldn't hold too much weight on these unless you was using maybe one of the bigger ones. This would probably be perfect for most of this. You can boil your water with this one. You might even be able to cook a little bit of something with it too. Try it at home before you do it in the field, though. You never know. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I had a blast making it. This is the end of the episode because I can't think of another way or application in which you could use this thing. If you have some, and I know you do, make sure you leave them in the comments below for me. Check them out sometime in the future. Next week is going to be our first review of 2018. It is going to be over canvas needles. I got some off Amazon. I was told these are the same canvas needles that David Canterbury sells. I was unable to actually buy some off of his website, so I got them on Amazon so they can get in here a little quicker. But yeah, we'll be comparing this $1.70 canvas needle from Walmart to I don't even know how much I paid for those on Amazon. We'll have to find that all out next week. And you know you don't want to miss it, so make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, Backpack BushCraft. You also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at BPackBushCraft. You can also check out the website where I post a blog every Sunday night, 10 p.m. EST. That website is www.backpackbushcraft.com. And until next time, guys, keep those fires burning. And log on from